I have a new subject for you today. It is about Paula White. I was actually thinking about her being in the news, just a hot topic lately. And then Everett from Ohio for Freedom did a video with Susan Puzio over the weekend. And I just started thinking about it because it was troubling to me that, just we all know where she is. She is in the White House. She is President Trump's spiritual advisor. And a few weeks ago, I just started thinking about that, even talked about it with my husband, just praying about it. And yeah, I have my concerns. Let me know what you think about it. But so about her being Trump's spiritual advisor. So I've been bothered about it in the spirit. I live in Tampa. When I was a baby Christian, I actually went to her and Randy White's church once. It's so ironic. The one time I went to their church was the day it was an evening service on a Sunday night, and it was the day that Randy White brought in a man named Joe Redner. If you don't know who he is very well known in Tampa. He owns several strip clubs. So at that time, he was running for a city councilman seat, and he's not a Christian. He does not profess to be one. And he was brought in, and he was given a standing ovation. Even though Randy White did not officially endorse him, I don't believe he specifically said that, but they were definitely bringing him in to get votes for city councilmen. Just the fact that they brought him in. This is Randy White and Paula White's church without walls in Tampa. I know that they had a bigger church in Lakeland. I didn't go there. I didn't even go to the one in Tampa. I just happened to go to the one in Tampa on that one night with some friends of my small church. All I had, my grid was only that small church that I went to. And for some reason, they wanted to go to that one because it was a very big church, very well known. And I'll tell you what, my spirit was just screaming that entire time. There were no less than 3 times where Randy White from the stage would say, "All right, everybody, stand up. Now everybody come to the front with your offering or gift," or whatever it was. I don't remember if they were who they were giving the funds to, but at least 3 times. It was so bizarre. It was 19 years ago, so I don't remember a lot of it. What I do remember was being very confused afterwards because I was a new Christian, and I just couldn't understand why they were bringing in this man who owns strip clubs and is not even a Christian. And even without saying that insinuating that you're endorsing him, at least, because you're bringing him in and you're asking for votes. And it was bizarre. And then the money thing, so even take out the whole Joe Redner thing. I remember that specifically about the money thing. And I knew nothing about prosperity teaching, word of faith. I knew nothing about that. I was a baby Christian, and I was just affected negatively. It was weird. I remember thinking, this is so weird. Why do they keep asking for money? In my church, they didn't do that. You just gave once, and they didn't even, it wasn't a big thing. It was a small church. So, yeah. So anyhow, I really want to encourage people, because this has been on my heart for a couple weeks, about Paula White and my concern about where she is. And if you share that concern, please share Ohio for Freedom's video. I'm going to link it in the description box. He did an excellent job. Matter of fact, I was like, oh my gosh, the videos are already over, and I know he's going to do another one, and I look forward to that. And I'll also link Susan Puzio's channel as well, because she wrote a book about her, about Paula White. And so we should be concerned about who is advising the president spiritually. And I know that President Trump has made a statement saying that Paula White speaks for the evangelicals in this country. I would not agree with that. There are so many Christians that do not want to see Paula White in that that office, in that position. I'm one of them. It really, really concerns me. Until I'm convicted by God, that's where I stand. I mean, I'm very concerned. My personal experience, that was a long time ago, but it's stayed with me. And when people have mentioned without walls around these parts, Tampa, Lakeland, it hasn't really been good. It's, they had I'm in a high rise in my office, and it's overlooking the bay. So a street that's on the bay is called Bayshore Boulevard, and there's multi-million-dollar homes, mansions on that street. Paula and Randy had a mansion there. I remember that. I remember shortly after, maybe like a year or so after this happened in 2006, I think they split up. But they were very well known in this community, and at least in my experience, they did not have a very good reputation. So those are my thoughts on just my personal experience. If you have any experiences, especially if you're in this area, Tampa, Lakeland, let me know. I would be very interested to hear what you have to say in the comments. And yeah, just what your thoughts are about it. I just think that we should all be praying about this situation and learning more, because that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to learn, is if we're sharing information. And that video really opened my eyes about the video that I'm referring to that Everett did, because I didn't know all of those things. I didn't know, what she's claimed, that she came from, poverty, and there's some statements that she made that's contradictory, but I want to learn more. And yeah, let me know what you think about that. So that's just my short little video today about just something I've been thinking about, and let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully, as you've heard from me before, I hope that very soon that we're going to see an indictment against Tom Cassie. I think it was good news last week that we saw the indictment against Robert Morris, and I'm going to do some research on the indictment as far as the charges against Robert Morris. As y'all know, it carries up to 20 years. I talked about that in my last video. There's 5 charges. What does that look like? Is he going to make bond? Well, yeah, most certainly. Right now it's set at $50,000. Could it be addressed by the prosecutor to raise it up? Yeah, it could be. We'll see. I'm not quite sure. All of these things, it depends on the judge, their predisposition on things, depends on the prosecutor. There's so many factors that weigh in on that. But it does look like nothing has changed over the weekend that I've seen in regard to what I heard, that Robert Morris was going to turn himself in on Monday. He would have to turn himself into Oklahoma. That's where the charges are. He lives in Texas. My understanding is he's going to relinquish his passport. And then, then the process starts. After he gets arraigned, he gets booked, he gets arraigned, and then they calendar it as far as, dates for court dates, appearances, discovery. One question is, what do you think? Is he going to go to trial? I was thinking about that this weekend. Well, we know he's admitted to what he deems to be an inappropriate or improper relationship with, he deems it as a young lady. He's at least made that concession. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll reach a plea agreement. Those are things to think about as these weeks and months progress. I don't think that a trial would be this year. If there was a trial, it would probably, I think the earliest it would be next year. But there could be a plea in that. People are throwing around up to 100 years. That's if you stack those charges, and that's if he gets found guilty on every single one. Just because there's 5 charges doesn't mean that he will be found guilty. If there was a trial, that he would be found guilty for each and every one. Stacking also, you know, it would run concurrently. I'm sorry, not concurrently, consecutively. Typically, the charges, the sentence would run concurrently. You know, so you have 5 of them at 20 years, they just run concurrently together. But you could run them consecutively. That's not very common, and I'm not sure what they do in Oklahoma. So I'm going to do some research on that just to see how they handle that, because hearing people throw that out about the 100 years, I don't like seeing that, because that gives people could be a false hope, and that might not be accurate. So even though if you add them all together, the totality of it is 20, that doesn't mean he's going to get 20 years. He could get something, he could get 10 years. So we have to be mindful of that and not throw that out there, because I just think that that's misleading. So let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to our next video.